Oh yes, nobody is waiting till 6 o'clock Eastern. Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that Kevin Durant is in fact headed to Brooklyn to join Kyrie Irving and DeAndre Jordan.
Now you got your big three in Brooklyn. There is no reason for the Brooklyn Nets not to be in the conversation to win an NBA championship and be the kings of the East. So everybody wants their hands. Everybody should be happy.
Listen Massive breaking news just in. According to our Adrian Wojnarowski, literally 4 minutes ago, tweeting this. Brooklyn Nets GM Sean Marks is working with Kevin Durant and his business manager Rich Kleiman on finding a trade for the franchise star.
The KD Kyrie Nets experiment is officially over, and I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say this is easily the most disappointing experiment in NBA history. In 3 years, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving played a total of 44 games together. Add the playoffs in 57 total games in 3 years. Earlier this year, these two were starting to become known as the most skilled duo of all time. And I never fought that because I kind of agreed. If they could ever simultaneously dive into their offensive bags, they could be a nightmare for opposing defenses. The problem is we never seen it enough. Out of all the all-star duos we've seen since they formulated theirs, look how many games they've played. Also, look at the win percentages in comparison to these all-star duos. You would think with that caliber of talent, they would be near the top, but somehow they're near the bottom. So with Kevin Durant finally getting fed up and requesting a trade, what exactly does this mean for his future? What does this mean for the future of the NBA? And most importantly, where the hell does Kyrie go from here?
Why did you want out of Brooklyn, and why did you want Philadelphia to be your destination?
Originally, when I was going through everything I was going through, in Houston, Philly was my first choice. It just didn't happen. So, but just detailed, I don't really want to get into, the Brooklyn situation.
First of all, even though I didn't like exactly how he handled certain things, James Harden, he was right. Last year when James Harden basically quit his way out of Brooklyn, it looked pretty bad, especially considering how he got there. Him actually deciding to leave when on the outside it looked like things were getting rough and he decided to bail, it ultimately turned out to be the best situation for him, especially with him being the only one out of the big three without an NBA championship. Kyrie Irving has probably come close to maximizing his peak, meaning it's not much more he can do legacy-wise for us to look at him much differently. Kevin Durant, yeah, he can win more championships and prove he didn't need Golden State, but he solidified championship-wise. I mean, he won. A championship would have most definitely meant the most to James Harden between those two, so he really didn't have that much time to waste. So when you really look at it, Kyrie Irving's behavior problems and all his issues with Brooklyn, it started literally the moment James Harden walked through the door. As he got traded to Brooklyn, the world was wondering where the hell was his all-star teammate on a 7-game hiatus, so Kyrie didn't exactly make the best first impression. James Harden in his second season with Brooklyn only played a total of 8 games with Kyrie Irving. Out of a possible 110 games played, James Harden only played 31 total games with Kyrie Irving. So from his point of view, the potential of that big three trio was literally only potential on paper. They never played together. It is unreal, 30 for 30 unreal, that out of a possible 110 games they could have played together, James Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant, they only played 16 total games together. 16, and they won 13 of them. This big three literally played one playoff series together, put up godly numbers, and then after that, we literally never seen them together consistently again. So going into James Harden's future, he would have wasted possibly minimum another year with Kyrie Irving, not knowing exactly how he'll be as a teammate, and most importantly as a professional. So you can understand his concern. Plus, James Harden is showing a different commitment to winning a championship with Philly, taking a more team-friendly deal to get the best possible championship team surrounding him. So that cleans up his messy Nets departure even further. So what about Kyrie Irving? I mean, he just opted back into that contract earlier this week as he found out how little leverage he actually has. So where does he go possibly without Kevin Durant? I'm going to keep this kind of short because I think that directly symbolizes Kyrie's options. I don't really think he has many. I'm almost positive that if Brooklyn is going to lose Kevin Durant, they're going to lose Kyrie in the process. The only reason they even got Kyrie, dealt with Kyrie, sustained Kyrie is because he came with Kevin Durant. So why keep him? With knowing that the Brooklyn Nets clearly want to go more into a rebuild direction, losing Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, that means that if they do lose KD solely, that kind of gives Kyrie back the leverage. It's being reported heavily that Kyrie wants to join the Lakers, and with us already seeing the little options he has on the market and him just opting back into that deal, so essentially making him a one-year rental, what options do the Nets really have if they want to get rid of him besides the Lakers? The Nets' options are literally one of three. Either bundle him up in a package with Kevin Durant, which I will talk about in a quick second, trade him to the Lakers, the only team willing to trade for him on a one-year rental, or awkwardly let him play out his one-year deal in that opt-in contract, which to me is kind of weird if you know you don't really want him around. So ultimately, Kyrie may have done so much damage in Brooklyn, and they may be so tired of Kyrie Irving that they're willing to trade for Russell Westbrook and pair him up with Ben Simmons. That is disgusting, but they'll do it for the one-year salary dump, take a few Lakers picks just to get Kyrie out of their hair. So if the Nets actually want to move on from Kyrie, they may have to trade this man to the Lakers, which is crazy. They only have 1 of 3 options. Get rid of him and trade him in a bundle with Kevin Durant, which I'm hearing some teams, they don't even want to deal with Kyrie. They just want Kevin Durant. Keep him awkwardly or give him to the Lakers. It's 1 of 3. And what about Kevin Durant? I'm assuming he's just burnt out from this Kyrie fiasco. I've seen reports that he actually still wants to play with Kyrie, just not in Brooklyn. I've seen conflicting reports that he and Kyrie weren't even in communications when Kyrie opted back in. I think he's done with Kyrie. That's what I think. It doesn't even make much sense to me to leave the person that held your last franchise and your championship potential hostage just to bring him to your next destination. Like, that doesn't make much sense. That's like leaving Russell Westbrook in 2016 and bringing him to go and stay with you. You left that man for a reason, right? If it's any team that's going to take that risk on the Kevin Durant Kyrie package, I would think it will be Miami. They have a set foundation, a set culture. They've been through this before with LeBron, Bosh, and Wade. Spoelstra has coached the Big Three before. I would think it will be them, if anyone. Phoenix is also another trade destination that we're hearing from Kevin Durant, but understandably so, the Nets, they don't even want to negotiate if they're not getting Devin Booker back in return. I understand that. Kevin Durant is probably going to be the most sought after player in a trade market ever, and how the Nets handle this situation is going to be pivotal for the NBA's future going forward. So they can't get robbed. They just can't. And that brings me to my last point, and why this trade demand and how it's handled will be very significant for the NBA moving forward. I made a video not too long ago, and I always find myself readdressing it, about how these stars demanding trades while under contract is going to backfire once that CBA agreement expires in 2024. Kyrie, not alone, but Kyrie specifically, he did so much damage to the players' leverage when they negotiate that next agreement. How he handled the Cleveland situation, threatening to have surgery if he wasn't traded. What he did to Brooklyn once he got paid, basically holding that franchise hostage. James Harden, what he did to Houston. Ben Simmons, what he did to Philadelphia. Anthony Davis in New Orleans. And now you have Kevin Durant signs an extension, a 4-year contract with Brooklyn, and 1 year later, he's back on the market. Like, that's going to be readdressed. I just said about Kyrie and the Nets, they may have to trade this man to the Lakers because he did so much damage. No team is going to trade a 1-year rental or trade valuable assets for a 1-year rental of the most sporadic player maybe ever. So what does that mean for Kyrie? He can actually go where he wants if the Nets really want to get rid of him. Owners going forward, they're not going to like the fact that they can pay players and essentially after that they have to bow down to him because they have no more power. Bradley Beal, he just signed a 5-year, 200, damn near close to Nikola Jokic contract, and I think he's going to axe out next year. Like, stuff like that, it will be addressed. And Kevin Durant, the face, one of the biggest faces of the league, doing it now, it's only gotten worse. If you guys like this video, like this video. I think this is going to be a long summer. I don't think this is going to be over this week, next week. The Nets, they have no reason to rush. Kevin Durant's under contract. He doesn't have much leverage. He's not going to sit out and waste a prime year after he just missed a year recovering from an Achilles injury. So the Nets, it's no reason to rush. Wait this thing out and see the best possible deal that you can get. Like I said, if you like this video, follow my social media sites. I will be here to cover all this Kevin Durant drama. It's a lot, man. We've never seen a player like Kevin Durant on the open trade market. It's crazy. Like I said, like this video, follow my social media sites. Do all the great stuff, guys. And until next time, as always, stay tuned.